Sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. So I usually get my edible images printed at my local cake supply store. When you're working with edible images, you want to make sure that your hands are completely clean and dry, because any moisture or anything that's on your hand will actually get onto the images and it can actually mess up the whole picture. And you also want to always keep them in a sealed bag when you're not working with them, or they will tend to dry out and they won't be very good for you to work with. So when I'm working with images, I like to cut my images out individually first, before I actually cut them down one by one. This is, like I said, they're so easy to mess up. And if you get any moisture or anything on your finger, then you will mess up an entire page of images. So if you cut them down to just each individual image, it's easier to cut them out, and it's also prevents you from messing up all of your images rather than just, maybe messing up one. So I do like to group multiple images on the same page. I try to fit as many images as I can on the same page, because it is kind of pricey to print out edible images. So if I have multiple orders in the same week or the next week that require me to use edible images, I group them all on the same page, and I just use the ones that I need for that week, and then the ones that I need for the order in the future, I will put them back into the Ziploc bag. I will make sure I get all the air out, and then I will seal it back. And this will preserve them and keep them nice for when I'm ready to use them again. Like I said, you have to keep them sealed when you're not working with them, or they will become very dry and they will crack when you're trying to work with them. So the first image that I'm going to cut out is going to be the flower. And since the flower is an easy shape to cut out, I just use a sharp pair of scissors and cut that out. Again, I make sure that my hands are clean and dry, and I just try to cut it out as neatly and evenly as possible. And that's how I usually do shapes that are easier to cut out. So the next image that I'm going to cut out is the unicorn. And since the unicorn has a lot more detail in the legs and the tail, I'm actually going to use my Exacto knife. Sometimes they're called precision blades or precision knives. And I'm going to just go around the perimeter of the image with the Exacto knife. I'm going to be very careful to stay along the edge and try to get exactly next to the edge, try to get no white. But I'm also going to be careful of my fingers, because it is very sharp, and I like to use the one that has a protective like a protective plastic part that you can slide up and down, and it kind of protects the blade when you're not using it. So I'm just going to go around and trace the outline of the unicorn, and this is how I usually cut out my more detailed images. So once you've gone completely around the image, you should be able to easily remove the white background as so, and then you'll see that you'll have your perfectly cut out image. So the next image we're going to cut out is a teddy bear. As you can see, her body is very easy. You can just cut that out with scissors. So I'm going to do most of the body with scissors. But when we get to the top where she has like the little red hat, it's a very detailed and very skinny image. So once I get to that part, I'm actually going to go in with the Exacto knife for that part. So if it's an image that has a part of the image that is easy to cut out, I'll use the scissors because it's faster. And then I'll reserve the part that has like more detail for the Exacto knife. So we're gonna do the same thing with the next image. I don't really know what this image is. Looks like a little teddy bear, maybe. I don't know. But this image is easy to cut out as well, but there's some detail in the fingers and between the legs. So the majority of the image I'm gonna cut out with scissors, and then I'm gonna reserve the little space between its legs and its actual individual little fingers. I'm gonna cut those out with the Exacto knife. So this is how they came out, and judging by the shape of the image that you're using, you can kind of decide whether it's best for you to use scissors or an Exacto knife. And what I did to stick these to the cake, I actually put a thin layer of fondant under each image, and I used my Exacto knife to trace the exact same shape before I stuck them to the cake. I will link the Exacto knife below that I used, and thank you for watching, guys.
Sweet, sweet, sweet love.